Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're going to be checking out a little bit more of the band BRATS. Now, BRATS have been an interesting one for me. This is their latest song, I believe. It's called No More, No More. Now, BRATS is a group who I have enjoyed more than if you'd showed me it on paper, I would have objectively expected to. The group is formed, again, always, guys, I try and get this information right, but I learn it from you guys to tell me if I'm wrong. It's formed from the member who left Lady Baby and decided to go in a very different direction. I believe setting up with a sister, I think, and basically making what is a kind of a punky band. I mean, the name BRATS gives that away. Their songs have been, for the best part, a bit of a mixed bag for me. I haven't found any of them that I disliked. There's been some that I really liked and some that I've been kind of okay with, passable with, but it's all been much, much higher quality than I think we could have expected. And considering this style of music is one where there is a huge, huge melting pot of different bands doing this, especially in Japan, it's really hard to stand out. So maybe their most difficult factor has been standing out amongst other groups who do the same thing. However, I do think that there is absolutely no question that they've held up on a quality level. It doesn't feel like a gimmick. It doesn't feel like a cheap trick. You know, it feels like something that they genuinely wanted to do and they're exercising a real ability and know-how with. So anyway, the new song, No More, No More, I guess what we could be expecting more than anything is there going to be an interesting progression? Is this going to show a different side for them? Are they just going to simply hone the sound we already know? Or is it just going to be really catchy? How have they defined what kind of single they want to go for? Anyway, like I say, BRATS, No More, No More. This is not a huge budget band, but they seem to have a little bit of budget, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they make this one interesting. And then we'll talk more after, as always. Ooh. Good. So for Hollywood start. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I like that. Good use of synths. Bouncy. It's such a big intro though, I really want to know how they're going to develop this. How they're going to make it pay off. I love that piano bit. That's a great moody chorus, isn't it? I know it's going to be one of those ones that's going to become irritating after a few listens because it keeps on going round and round, but it is good. Nice. I was hoping they'd add a bit of a vocal harmony in there just to build up the chorus. Try and break it from being too repetitive. That's a cool little bass line as well there. Yeah, no doubt, it definitely, it works really, really well. We've got a few pointers to pick up on this one though, but really good choice for a single. Yeah, you enjoyed it. You can act angry, but you enjoyed it. Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of reasons. First of all, why this song really appeals to me. Something about this sound I really like, and it references so many things, so many other songs. And yet it works really well. Now, I've got good and bad to say about this. As always, we'll be honest like we do on this channel. But let me first of all pick up on some of the really positive things there. First of all, like I say, they're quite a punky band usually. So a mid-tempo song like this is quite interesting. It went for that tripleted rhythm. So even though the beat was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4 rhythm, it had that thing where in between each beat you've got, instead of it being usually just 4 divided by 4 divided by 4, which is your normal sort of rock and roll rhythm, it had the triplets. So each beat had a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And what that does is it basically means that everything has a bit of a skip to it. And it usually just comes in like the little incidental notes, the incidental guitar strums will just be sort of bouncing off a slightly different place between each note. And you get, like I say, this sort of skippy tripleted rhythm. And that was one of the things that really worked. There are songs like this that have that sort of feeling that are is famous for this. I mean, one of the ones that I usually reference, I mean, it's a pop song, but it's a very famous one, so most people can think of it, is So What by Pink. Again, although this triplety thing can be used for all kinds of things, you know, right down to sort of, you know, smooth, jazzy, dancey songs, it's also very popular if you want to do something that has kind of like almost a bombastic carnival sort of feel. It gives everything a sort of you can give it a sort of angry skip as well, like this does, like So What does. There's a few other songs. There's a My Chemical Romance one as well, which a lot of people, which kind of has a similar vibe to this. I can't remember what it's called though. And, you know, there are songs which have this kind of tripleted skip, and this uses it really well. It doesn't automatically mean your song's going to work. I mean, it gives you a tone, but like any musical technique, you can squander it, and they did not squander it here. They used it really well. One of the reasons that worked is because they kept the whole way that they played it quite simple. Everything was accented, everything was heavy, but there was actually quite a significant number of sounds in there working. You had the bass line was interesting. It was nothing too complicated, but it kind of did like a bit of a quick sort of bouncy skip in itself. The guitar was very, very simple, but what that was doing was holding down the basic chords. It was basically doing a simple job so it could give you that central chord pattern that everything else is working around, little stabs, like bum, bum, and then away. And, and the chorus just doing sort of simple held chords, and, it was good in being the core of the song. It wasn't meant to be anything fancy. It was just meant to give that heavy impact when it was necessary. And on that key, it worked. Now, what was really interesting, because as far as I'm aware, like I said, I don't know if the lead singer, I'm assuming like virtually everyone in Japan, she plays keyboard or plays piano, but she wasn't in this particular video. Most of the interesting bits, as often is the case with these bands when they have keyboard in, come from what you do with the keyboard. And it really worked here, because obviously keyboard is that one sound where, as I always say, you can program it to be any sound you want it to be. And they chose the sounds really well on this. Now, one of the things I noticed straight away is it had what I tend to refer to as like being the Dr. Dre hop, which is where you get like a very simple, usually just two notes on a piano, and you just play them over the top like a dum 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 dum, something like that. Obviously I can only make one note at a time with my voice, but you get what I'm saying. And they did that on this, and that is a really, really powerful technique, because you can play it very quietly at the back of the music. But what it does is when you've got like something really heavy where everything's bassy, it gives a distinct and sort of head boppy sound in the higher end of the frequencies. It's very effective for that. You put it in there and it gives everything like a bit of a twinkle as well, a higher balance. You need that balance across all of the ranges of the song. You need the song to have interesting timbres from bass all the way up to trebles for it to sound full and for it to sound lively. And that was used really well here. It was nice and it accented the beat. It was nice and turned back towards the back of the mix. So, it didn't push through to, because as it's, like I say, repeating the same, well, it changes a little bit, but as it's repeating that same always on the note thing, if you turn it up too loud, it can get really annoying. So, putting it towards the back of the mix, again, good choice, because it just kind of kicks through and, it's in its own place in the EQ and in the frequency band. That was really well done. And plus they had that, like slightly cheeky, more synthetic sound doing the da-na, da-na, kind of sounded like it was a synthetic replacement for a trumpet or a brass. It kind of did what you'd expect in, like I say, going back to that more carnivalistic show tune sort of sound. you'd want to hear that kind of thing. It kind of makes you think of those sorts of big brass band sounds where everything's a bit bombastic and a little bit, it's kind of got that feel to it. And so when they used that here, it came off like a clever synthetic replacement for using a trumpet. And it worked really well. It kind of gave everything a little bit of a slightly sinister vibe, but in a fun way. So much about the way that the sounds were picked for this song was brilliant. And the chorus is really, really catchy. Now, this is where we're going to have to move on to maybe being a little bit fair and honest about why this song maybe is not quite to the heady heights that it could be. In my opinion, one of the problems is that the chorus is really, really catchy, but it doesn't quite do enough to stop itself getting repetitive. There is no reason why you can't have a chorus that has a very short vocal melody. And the vocal melody is very short. The chord pattern moves underneath, but you're basically getting the same very short chord melody, vocal melody go over and over and over again. That can work. But what you need to do is you need to make the backing dynamic enough and interesting enough for it to work. Now, in the chorus, everything was big and heavy, but what they needed was something more towards the top end, again, to make it more interesting, something a bit more playful. When the vocal harmonies came in, they were nice, but I think certainly the first chorus is fine, but as you move towards the end of the song, in your last chorus, in your big crescendo, you needed lots of those big vocal melodies, harmonies. You needed lots of things counteracting it so that your brain is not just totally focused on that one bit that's going round and round and round. I mean, if it's there, but there's harmonies happening, you'll still hear that. You'll still hear that catchy bit, but there'll be other things to enhance upon it to stop it just being that thing going round and round and round. So I think this needed more vocal harmonies towards the end. Maybe difficult if not all of the members sing. I don't really know how that works with BRATS. Apologies if they have sung in other songs and I've forgotten that. But I think they needed more vocal harmonies, and maybe this is one of the areas where they maybe fall down from being a three-piece band when you've got such a big sounding song. But even if they can't pull it off 100% live, I think for the studio recording, they should have thrown in more sounds over at least the last chorus, just to give it that final crescendo feeling of really going out on a high and avoiding it becoming something where the chorus is repetitive. Like I say, the chorus is really good. It's really catchy in the simplest of ways. But that can both be a benefit and a disadvantage. If you think about the most annoyingly catchy songs, usually short melody, very repetitive. It catches in your head in a good way, but it also is the one that after a couple of weeks you're like, oh God, I don't want to hear that anymore. This stands the risk of being that. I mean, right now I'm thinking, yeah, I'd love to go back and listen to that song a few more times, but I guarantee if I listen to this too many times, there's going to be that point where I go, oh, okay, I'm getting sick of this now. And I think that could have easily been subverted with just a little bit more playfulness. I don't want to say anything against the producer, because if the producer's been responsible for picking any of those keyboard sounds, then the producer's done an amazing job. But I do think that the producer could have maybe got in there and fleshed out the arrangement a little bit towards the end. Anyway, those are my opinions. I think this is a really good song. Like I say, I can't wait to listen to it again. Always got to be honest, I do think it could have been improved. I think there was room to do more of what they had, but really interesting difference from their previous songs. I think it's a great choice for a single. Video is kind of very basic, serves its purpose. I don't think they have the budget maybe to do a video that's quite as big and mad as this song feels like it deserves. But yeah, I mean, it serves its purpose. It doesn't detract from the song at all. And the song itself, like I say, is very good, but it's got so many brilliant things about it. So good with the chorus, so good with the melody, appeals to my personal taste. You know, I'm going to admit to being a little bit #NoBias towards this. So many things that I really like about it. So many good choices with the keyboard sounds, you know, really great vocal performance, you know, nice bass line, everything just working great. It just feels like it's just a few steps from being completed. It feels like this is the demo for like a real smashing single. But anyway, as always, get in there, tell me what you think in the comments. Really interested in seeing what you guys think. Always really good to have a discussion on this, because like I say, you know, I can comment as someone who's worked with music for my entire life, but music is only as good as you enjoy it. So please tell me what you think, and let's all have a nice constructive conversation about this. Obviously, if you want to enjoy talking to us and all of our followers all the time, remember the Discord link is in the description below, where we're talking about music all day long, 24/7, Japanese music. Mostly Japanese music. And yeah, we've got the Reddit suggestion thread if you want to suggest more songs for me to listen to. that's the place to do it, so I don't miss them. And obviously, big thank you to our Patreon supporters. Link to that's also in the description below, but thank you for keeping everything running. I appreciate it so much. You guys are the lifeblood of this not monetized channel. So anyway, for now from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. Until I see you soon, hopefully on the next video. Ciao, ciao. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel. Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.